Morning guys, Grant from Grant Ford Fitness and Jets Caloundra, and this morning I'm bringing you a video with some ideas on core training. Now, core training is one of the most important things, especially if you're doing compound lifts, so you're lifting heavy weights, squatting, deadlifting, bench pressing. It's really important that you've got a strong core so that you can maintain a neutral spine throughout any kind of lift. You think about your core, its main function is to provide support when you are doing something, when your legs or your arms are moving, keep your spine neutral and stable, or it's there to transfer power. So if you look at throwing, you look at punching, kicking, whatever you're doing, you're using the rotation of your core, you've got your anterior oblique chain, you're stretching and then contracting those muscles to develop power. So you have to look at your core not as something that's just there for a six-pack, but as something that is providing stability for your spine or generating power through rotational force. And one of the things that you see an awful lot in the gym is people training their core, looking at lots of sit-ups, lots of planks. Now I'm going to pick on the plank. The plank is a great beginner exercise. It teaches you how to maintain a neutral spine position, teaches you how to engage all your core muscles, but you see a lot of people just planking for extended periods of time. Now, once you're able to hold a plank for 30 seconds, you can keep everything stable, you should be developing that exercise. You'd be moving on to more advanced methods of testing your core and strengthening your core. Holding a stable spine with no change in body position and with no increasing load is, in my opinion, a waste of time. Once you've taught yourself how to turn it on, you need to be able to do that whilst you're moving, so that you can then transfer that stable position into squatting, or into deadlifting, or into pulling up or pushing up. Whatever the exercise is, you're able to keep that spine. Also, if you're playing sports, if you're a fighter, if you're a golfer, if you're a tennis player, you're learning to develop that rotational force through core movements. Now again, I'm going to give you my top 5 core exercises. Now there are a variety of things which are keeping a stable spine whilst you're moving, anti-rotation movements, so you're keeping a stable spine while also trying to move your body, and rotational movements. Okay, so if you can hold a plank for 30 seconds, stop trying to break the 5-minute world record, stop holding planks for endless amounts of time. The benefits really aren't worth it. Okay, this is my opinion. Go out and give these ones a go. So the first core exercise, and the one which I use the most in my training, is the ab wheel rollout. Start off with the ab wheel, or you can use a barbell. Start on your knees, keep your core tight, stretch out with your arms as far as you can, keeping your spine neutral, bring the wheel back into your knees. 3 sets of 12 is a really good starting point. Once you're doing that easily, again, come up to your feet, come out, same deal, you're just going from your toes. It adds a little bit more resistance to it. Again, I do 3 sets of 8 to 10, standing up. If that's easy, add a weighted vest. So the second exercise that I'm going to pick for your core is a cross pull through in a plank position. So start in a plank position with the weight by your hip, drag it through to the opposite side with the opposite hand, then take it back to the hip. So from hip to opposite shoulder, then from shoulder down to hip, and then reverse it, bringing it through. Again, we'll show you a different view from the front, and you can see I'm trying to keep my hips neutral the whole time, so I'm not rolling about, not moving. This is great for changing the force. You've got rotational forces coming through your core and you're resisting them, so it's keeping a stable core whilst weight is pulling on it. Third exercise I'm going to pick is the L-sit. Now this is probably the hardest one to do. Balance yourself on some kettlebells or parallettes or push-up handles. Keep your legs out straight in front of you for as long as you can. If you can't do that, hold your knees up in front of you and just do 3 sets of holding for as long as you can. And the fourth exercise we're going to look at is a wood chopper. So you're going to start on a cable machine with your hand out to your side at 90 degrees. Get yourself in a balanced 2-footed stance, and you're going to effectively just transfer or turn your hips from facing towards the cable machine to facing away from the cable machine, keeping your hands straight out in front of you. Okay, it's important to keep your trunk upright, not to muscle it with your arms. Just use your core and rotation of your hips and your thoracic spine. Do 3 sets of 8 on each side. Again, you can see it from the other side here. I'm transferring my weight each time, keeping my spine nice and neutral, staying upright, and just nice and steadily rotating through the core. This is great for developing rotational strength, great for anyone playing any kind of sport, as long as you keep your spine neutral. And then finally guys, if you have to do a plank, then do it with some weight. I like to put a couple of kettlebells on a band, strap them around my hips, and then support myself between two benches or a bench and a step. Make sure I'm in a nice solid plank position, and then I'll hold it for about 30 seconds. If you can hold it for more than 30 seconds, increase the weight. The reason I like to put them on a band rather than using a weight plate or anything like that is because the bands cause the weights to move. As the weight is moving, your core has to make little adjustments to support yourself in different planes of motion. So there you have it guys, they are my 5 alternatives to planking.